Imagine you're playing your favorite game, but something's off. Instead of smooth gameplay, you're watching a slideshow and your computer is begging for mercy. Frustration builds up, so you decide to check the prices of new graphics cards online, and that's when reality smacks you in the face. To enjoy those glorious 60 frames per second, you now have two options. The first one, lower the graphics settings to the absolute minimum. But let's be real, games lose their charm this way. And you still want to admire that stunning, detailed visual beauty. The second option, lower the resolution. Sure, performance improves, but there's a serious downside. The image becomes blurry, unclear, and downright painful to look at. Your gaming comfort takes a hit, and those once beautiful details now look like a sloppy blur effect. And this is exactly where lossless scaling comes in. This clever tool takes your blurry, low-resolution image and transforms it back into a sharp, crisp picture using advanced scaling methods. This way, you can enjoy better performance without sacrificing visual quality. But that's not all. And I'll also show you how to use this program to double your frame rates. Lossless Scaling debuted on Steam in late 2018 and cost $6.99. At the time of recording this video, the software already boasts nearly 15,000 positive reviews, so I think it's worth spending a few bucks for what this program offers. When you launch the program, the first thing that stands out is the most important option, scaling type. This is where you choose the image scaling method, and in this video, I tested almost all of them to show you the visual differences and their impact on frame rates. To the right of scaling type, you'll find another interesting feature, frame generation. That's right. This program can generate additional frames in any game, regardless of your graphics card. On the left, you'll find the option to create profiles. This lets you save individual settings for each game, a very handy feature. As for scaling mode, I recommend leaving it at the default settings. From the additional options, it's worth enabling adjust cursor speed, as scaling can affect cursor speed, which can be annoying. How to use lossless scaling. To use the program, first go into your game settings, lower the resolution to anything below your monitor's native resolution, and switch the display mode to windowed or borderless windowed. Then, in lossless scaling, choose your preferred scaling type, click Scale, and start the game. After about 5 seconds, return to the game window will expand to full screen, and the scaling will kick in. For easier and faster scaling activation, you can set a keyboard shortcut in the program settings. Now that we know everything, it's time to move on to the tests. First, let's see how many FPS we can gain by simply lowering the resolution. For this test, I'm changing the resolution from 2560 by 1440 pixels to 1600 by 900 pixels. And there you have it. We managed to get a significant boost in FPS. However, as you can see, the image quality has taken a serious hit. Now it's time for the key moment. Let's see how lossless scaling handles improving this image. As you can notice, the program offers quite a variety of scaling options. That's why I'll show you how each method differs from the others. And what do we see? When it comes to FPS, the results are almost identical to those from the lowered resolution without scaling. But what we're most interested in are the visual differences. So now, let's take a closer look at each scaling method and see how they affect image quality. So, as we can see, lossless scaling really works. It does a pretty good job of improving the image at a lower resolution, making it look more like our native resolution. This is especially noticeable in Cyberpunk 2077. However, in the case of Stalker, the effect is a bit weaker. Now, let's move on to the next test. Frame generation. The program offers 3 different versions of its proprietary lossless frame generation system, which, to be honest, works surprisingly well. What's even better is that you can use it without image scaling. Let's see how it performs in practice. The recordings have been slowed down by 80% to make it easier to spot the differences. On the screen, you'll see 2 numbers. The one on the left shows the native frame rate, and the one on the right is the frame rate with frame generation enabled. As we can observe, each of the 3 versions produces exactly twice the FPS. But what's the difference between them? The answer lies in the image artifacts. After analyzing the results, we can see that the differences in artifacts are minimal. You really have to look closely to notice them. This means we can confidently say that each version performs very well. However, there's one important note. To aim for over 100 FPS, you need at least 60 FPS as your base. Similarly, if you're targeting 60 FPS, you'll need at least 30 FPS to start with. Why? Because with a very low base frame rate, the artifacts become much more noticeable and can significantly affect your gaming experience. Finally, a quick tip. You can use lossless frame generation not only for games, but also to watch YouTube videos at 140 frames per second. Yes, you heard that right. Even videos can look super smooth. To sum up, lossless scaling is a really interesting tool that proved its value during our tests. The program does an excellent job of improving image quality at lower resolutions, allowing you to enjoy better performance without having to endure a blurry screen. While the visual results can vary depending on the game, like in Cyberpunk 2077, where it shines, or Stalker, where it struggles a bit more, it's still a significant upgrade for players with less powerful hardware. And frame generation, a total game changer. It can double your FPS, and the differences between the available versions are so minor they're practically unnoticeable. Of course, you need a decent base FPS count for the results to be satisfying, but it's an excellent way to get more out of your setup. Is it worth it? Absolutely. For just $6.99, you get a functional, easy-to-use program that can significantly improve your gaming experience. If you're looking for a budget-friendly way to boost your FPS and enhance image quality, lossless scaling is a tool worth adding to your library.